Early game progress going kinda slow? How about we speed things up a bit? Hey there, my name is Salandrak and welcome to the 4th episode of my Terraria version 1.4 Journey's End Beginner's Guide series. In this video, we're going to be getting back into some gameplay and talking about early game gearing and various other topics with the goal of getting you ready for your first boss fights. Be sure to check the description below for timestamps as well as links to useful information. Because my primary world for the series has already passed this stage and I didn't record enough of the regular gameplay footage, I'll mostly be playing in a new world in this video, so don't be surprised if you see new buildings and world layout. And as always, if you find this video helpful, informative, or at the very least somewhat entertaining, I would really appreciate it if you could please smash that like button and hit the subscribe button to help me grow the channel. Now let's get to it! In the first video in this series, we talked about getting the lay of the land and exploring to the left and right from your initial spawn point, as well as starting to go underground and explore caves. I'll try not to repeat too much from that first video, but if you need a refresher, click the link above. This video will basically be a continuation of that first video and assumes you've maybe set up a home base and gotten a few basic upgrades. So what should you do after your first day or 3 in a new world? Well, you should basically keep doing what you've already started doing, namely, explore. In no particular order, I recommend spending some time doing each of the following activities. Pretty early, I like to explore to the far ends of the world. Along the way, be sure to grab any loot you find, including flowers for potions and chests in shallow caves. Eventually, you'll reach the coast, which is where you'll find the Angler NPC. If you don't see him initially, just stick around and he'll spawn somewhere just off screen asleep until you talk to him, and after that, he'll move into a room if one is available. There's usually one or more chests off in the ocean waters, so it can be worthwhile to YOLO into the deep to quickly grab the loot and then warp home before you drown. A platform over the ocean with a rope hanging down can also help you get back out for air, even from deep water. Just be sure you have some glow sticks first to light your way, which conveniently can be acquired from jellyfish that commonly spawn in any body of water. Either before or after finding both the oceans, you'll also want to spend some decent time exploring caves. As noted in the first video of the series, you'll want to gather ore, gems, life crystals, cobwebs, and any treasure chest loot. Ore, of course, can be used to make weapons and armor upgrade, gems can be used to make a grappling hook, which is a critical piece of mobility gear, and life crystals are needed to increase your survivability and enable events like blood moons and goblin invasions. As for cobwebs, there's a couple of really useful things they let you do early on. In addition to beds, you can make your first basic yo-yo, a weapon type that is extremely useful as it can go around corners and hit enemies that can't hit you. Another neat trick with cobwebs is to craft the white string accessory, which in addition to making your yo-yo go out further, also has a chance to give you a useful accessory mod. Warding for +4 armor is great, but other things like quick for movement speed can also be very useful. After you spent some time in regular caves, feel free to branch out into the other biomes such as the snow, desert, or jungle. There are lots of great upgrades to be found that are unique to each biome, so get out there and see what you can find. Just be aware that the other biome areas can be quite a bit more dangerous, so if you find it too hard initially, save it for later when you have slightly better gear. Not a fan of plodding through the dirt like the guy in the intro? Well, here's a couple of tips to greatly improve your mining efficiency. First of all, upgrade your pickaxe as soon as possible. A better pickaxe will move you through the ground much faster and is often my first ore-based upgrade because of the dividends it returns. Beyond a better pickaxe, you can also significantly improve your mining experience with a few good potions, namely the mining potion and the Spelunker potion. These can be randomly found in chests and dropped by slimes, but they can also be crafted with ingredients that are pretty easy to gather in the early game. For a mining potion, you'll need an antlion mandible dropped by antlions in the desert, and a blink root which can be found underground growing on dirt or mud. They often blink when otherwise hidden in dark caves, making them pretty easy to locate. Spelunker potions are also crafted with blink root as well as a piece of either gold or platinum ore and moon glow, which grows in the jungle and is really easy to find when it blooms at night. When activated, the Spelunker potion gives you X-ray vision that highlights all ore and treasures anywhere on the screen, and will greatly improve your rate of treasure acquisition. The Spelunker buff only lasts for 5 minutes though, so be careful not to waste time when the buff is active. Also, it's best used in the cavern layer or lower where valuable ores are much more common. To craft your own potions, you'll need to place an empty bottle on a platform or table and build up a stockpile of water bottles. To make those, gather sand from the desert, then turn it into glass at your furnace. The glass can then be crafted into bottles which can be filled at any body of water. You can also craft a sink using 3 iron or lead bars and a bucket of water. You'll be able to set up a swank little herb garden after the dryad arrives, but if you want to grow flowers before that, you can craft pots from clay and then plant herb seeds to grow more potion making materials. Either way, be sure to save any seeds you find as they will be extremely useful later on. You can also boost your mining speed by having a food buff active, and if you're lucky in the desert, you might nab yourself a mining chisel. Get all these buffs active at the same time, and you'll be drilling your way through the ground at record speed. For example, here's the mining speed with just a gold pickaxe and no buffs, compared to the same pickaxe with buffs. No comparison. Whether on purpose or accidentally, you'll probably satisfy the criteria for various NPC villagers to arrive during this phase of the game, but some of them will only arrive if you have the appropriate lodging set up for them ahead of time. It's a good idea to put together an NPC Motel to welcome the new arrivals. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, as this is just to give them housing so they'll actually show up. But once you have at least a couple of NPCs in the motel, go ahead and move them out to a new Pylon Village location. If you haven't already, check out the second video in the series for details on housing requirements, and the third video for NPC happiness and how to buy pylons. One place to get some great upgrades is floating right above your head on Sky Islands. Some just have a lake you can go fishing in, but others have a small room with a treasure chest that can hold some valuable loot. There are several methods for finding these islands, including launching golf balls or building a sky bridge, but my favorite is to use rope to get to the top of the atmosphere, make a platform to either side, then run off and float away using either an umbrella or a featherfall potion. These potions are commonly found in chests but can also be crafted with a day bloom, a blink root, and a feather you can get from harpies up in the sky. It's a really good idea to put together at least a basic fighting arena pretty early in the game. Once you have 120 or more health, you can start getting blood moons, 140 health enables slime rains, and you should definitely have an arena setup before you get to 200 health, as you can have a goblin invasion or spontaneous attack from the Eye of Cthulhu. All of these occurrences are much easier to handle if you have appropriate terrain for defeating them. Here's a simple but effective setup which I usually put to the side of my main surface base near the center of the world. First, build 3 to 6 rows of platforms about a screen's width across. The distance between platforms will vary based on what mobility items you have available. A height of 6 blocks is a good idea if you have limited mobility, such as no grappling hook or jump boosting items. But if you have a grappling hook and or jump boosters, such as one of the various cloud in a bottle types of items, 12 blocks works pretty well. Feel free to experiment to find your own personal preference and later remove rows that you don't need. Be sure to place torches around to light up the area and put a campfire in the middle for some health regen. If you favor magic weapons, you can make a star in a bottle to boost mana regen, and if you have any spare life crystals, make a heart lantern to boost your health regen even further. All of these preparations will make events, evasions, and your first boss fights much easier. Let's talk some theory for a minute concerning weapons and how to evaluate whether or not something is an upgrade. And the best tip I can give you is simply this: experiment. Try out each weapon you find, get a feel for how it works, and get a feel for whether you think it is more or less effective than what you already have. Although all weapons provide you with a fair bit of information regarding their stats, including damage per hit, critical strike chance, attack speed, and knockback, these numbers unfortunately aren't terribly useful. A big damage number might sound appealing, but if it has a slow attack speed and can only hit one target right next to you, it won't be very useful against a scary boss or a horde of enemies attacking from multiple directions. As you get experience in the game, you'll start to recognize which weapons you like and which are vendor trash, but the best way to get that experience is to take each new finding for a test drive. The last topic for today is this: how do you know when you're ready to start taking down bosses? Well, there's no one-size-fits-all answer for this one. If you're in a classic difficulty world, the Eye of Cthulhu is really quite easy and can be fought naked with just about any ranged weapon or even shuriken bought from the merchant or found while exploring. On higher difficulties, it is certainly recommended to have some good upgrades first, but if this is your first venture into Terraria, here's what I would recommend. Shoot for a full set of metal armor of at least silver or tungsten, or even better, gold or platinum, depending on which ore is in your world. Definitely try to have a grappling hook, and if you can find speed boots and a double jump item, even better. For weapons, any higher level metal bow with frostburn or jester arrows works pretty well, or even better, use a gun you can get from smashing the orbs or hearts of your evil biome. And of course, more life is never a bad idea. As for the specific tactics for fighting the Eye of Cthulhu, including on the higher difficulties, well, that's what we'll cover in the next video. As always, thanks for watching, and hopefully you learned a thing or two from this video. One of the many things I love about Terraria is the sense of progression you feel in each world as your character gets stronger and stronger. While some like to take it slow and others like to rush straight to endgame, there is no wrong or right way to go about it as long as you are having fun. Be sure to stick around for the next video where it's time to dissect the Eye of Cthulhu. I'll go over each of the different difficulty levels, give recommended gear for each level, and explain some methods to take it down fast. And if you don't mind, please hit that like button and subscribe so you know when the next video comes out. And feel free to let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. Until next time, cheers!